When you talk to someone that lives on Alabama Hill, you're going to find something kind of interesting. And first of all, they're going to tell you that they love it up here. They love access to trails, proximity to parks, its central location, and its value. They're also going to tell you something else that drives them a little bit crazy. And I'm going to share that with you, along with other real pros and cons about living on Alabama Hill, so that you can make a great decision on whether or not it's right for you before you go tour homes there. My name is Tim Cornwell, and I've lived here all my life. I've been a real estate agent here in the Bellingham area for 14 plus years, and I work with people like you that want to relocate to the Bellingham area. So on this channel, what I do is I share information about neighborhoods and communities so that you can make a good decision on where the best place to live is for you. And I help people like you relocate here to the Bellingham area. I work with people all the time that want to move to Bellingham. The purpose of this channel is to share information with you about Bellingham neighborhoods and communities in the area so that you can make a great choice on where you want to live. So the intention of this episode is to let you know the real pros and cons of Alabama Hill so that you can know what they are before you get here and experience it. So let's jump right in. So where is Alabama Hill and what's the profile of the neighborhood? So Alabama Hill is centrally located in Bellingham. It's east of Interstate 5, probably about 5 minutes away from the freeway. We're right below Lake Whatcom, and it is an older established neighborhood. Homes were built there between the 1950s to the 1990s. They're a combination of mid-century modern, split level, and ramblers. A lot of mature landscaping in the neighborhood. There is new construction that happens in the neighborhood, and there's also infill new construction, and we'll get into that in a little bit later in the video. The first pro I want to talk about is the location of Alabama Hill. So it's centrally located in Bellingham, about 5 minutes east of Interstate 5. You can get anywhere in Bellingham really in 15 minutes or less. You just shoot down the hill, get on the freeway, head north to the airport, Costco, head south down to Fairhaven, and then straight through downtown Alabama Street will take you all the way to downtown Bellingham. Now, the closest shopping is Barkley Village. And that's within 5 minutes away of the Alabama Hill neighborhood. You've got restaurants, you've got healthcare, you've got financial district, all kinds of shopping and retail and healthcare and all those kind of things are right there in Barkley Village. So that's really close by. Going the other way up the top of the hill, Lake Whatcom's right at the top of the hill. You can be at Lake Whatcom below Del Donovan Park in 5 minutes. Below Del Donovan's right at the top of the hill, right gives you access directly to Lake Whatcom, including a boat launch. So the great part is because Alabama Street gets you downtown to all parts of Bellingham to the freeway, and then going north gets you to Lake Whatcom, all the side streets that come off of Alabama Street are quiet. So the farther away you get from Alabama Street, the quieter it is, the less traffic there is. So it's definitely a real neighborhood feel as you get into the actual neighborhood itself. So pro number 2 is proximity to parks and trails. And obviously, as you can see, I'm on a trail today. There are trails running all throughout the Alabama Hill neighborhood. The most prevalent one is the railroad trail, but I'm on a trail called the Clipson Trail, and it's right at the end of the north end of the neighborhood. And right down there, you can see a trail marker. So these trail markers are all throughout the neighborhood on all the trails, and they tell you how far it is to the next point of interest or another trailhead or a park. And speaking of parks, we are surrounded by parks in the neighborhood. The biggest one would be Whatcom Falls Park, 241 acres. So many things to do at Whatcom Falls Park. And it's a very forested area. It's beautiful, it's quiet, it's cool. We have Highland Heights Park that's right in the neighborhood. We have St. Clair Park right in the neighborhood as well. And then probably my favorite park right outside of Alabama Hill is below Del Donovan Park because it is a lakefront park right on Lake Whatcom. One of my favorite pros of Alabama Hill neighborhood is the railroad trail. This thing is so awesome. It's beautiful, it's lined with trees, it's nice and wide, it's very level, it's well maintained, and it'll get you from one end of the neighborhood to the next. It starts way up there at Whatcom Falls Park. It'll take you all the way down to Barkley Village, and then it connects with the interurban trail system that'll take you all throughout the Bellingham area. So
that is one of the greatest pros of this neighborhood, the railroad trail.
So over my shoulder is a home that I sold to some folks that were relocating up here from California. And it's a great story of how the pros and cons kind of work together. So they were originally looking for something up around Lake Whatcom, but the pricing up there was a little bit more than they wanted to spend. So they're like, okay, maybe we can find something elsewhere that fits our budget, but it also fits our needs and our lifestyle. So we found this great house here on Niagara. It was a little bit dated, and there really wasn't much in terms of development of the backyard. And so, but they loved the house, they loved the location, they loved the views, they loved the proximity to the railroad trail, because it is right off their backyard is the railroad trail. And so they bought the home, and the wife is so good at decor and style, and she totally came in and upgraded the home and updated it. Looks beautiful. And then the husband is great at design on exteriors and landscaping and those kind of outdoor entertainment areas. And he created this beautiful outdoor pickleball court entertainment area. So this is a fabulous home now that they love it here. It is, I would call it a luxury home. And they were able to buy in a neighborhood in a price range that worked for them, and then invest money to make it the way they wanted it to be. One of the pros that I really appreciate about the neighborhood is I feel it's very kid-friendly, because you have that main arterial of Alabama Street, but then as those side streets come off of that, the further you get down those side streets, the quieter it is and the less traffic you have. And as a dad, that's important to me. I want my kid to be able to go out and ride their bike and play with their friends and not have to worry about, cars and traffic and any other safety issue. The other thing that I really like about it as a dad is the trails are so close by. So to be able to jump on a trail with my kids on a bike or to go for a walk, that just is so convenient, and it's hard to find that in every neighborhood in town. So I really like that proximity to trails. I feel like it's a very kid-friendly place. The kid could jump on a trail, ride their bike to their friend's house. I love that. That's a great pro.
Another pro about the Alabama Hill neighborhood are the views. We are on a hill. We are looking west out to Bellingham Bay, out to the San Juan Islands, and out to incredible sunsets. Now, I'm partial to westerly view, southerly view homes. And if you can get a house on Alabama Hill that has unobstructed or maybe partially obstructed views of Bellingham Bay, that can't be beat. The challenge is we have so much mature vegetation in terms of trees and shrubs, but if you can get a parcel, a home with great Bellingham Bay views, it just can't be beat. So that is an incredible pro. Maybe on the other side, on the con is, man, I could have this incredible view, but there's all this vegetation blocking it. So you have to navigate that carefully. You can't just assume that if you buy a house, you can take down the trees. We do have some tree ordinances here in Bellingham called the Landmark Tree Ordinance. So you don't automatically have the right to remove trees to get a better view. But there's probably some things you might be able to do depending on your situation and how big your trees are. But anyway, that view, $1 million view right there.
And the last pro about the Alabama Hill neighborhood that I like is that there's so many different housing types and price points. I think you could find a house somewhere in the 500s on up to $1.5 million. It's a pretty big range. And those bigger homes that have been updated that have great views, those are going to be your higher priced homes. But then a lot of these homes that have deferred maintenance, frozen in time, it's 1965, with a lot of overgrown landscaping, I think you can go in there and find a pretty good value here in the same neighborhood. So you're going to get all the benefits that this neighborhood has to offer in really whatever price point works for you. So to me, that's a great pro, so much variety in pricing. Quick question for you. What's the biggest deal breaker? Is it the busy street and the noisy street out on Alabama, hard to get on and off? Or is it a neighborhood that's dependent on a car to do everything? Drop it in the comments, which one is the bigger issue for you, because I read them. And if you are thinking about moving to the Bellingham area and you have these kind of questions, these are the things that I talk to people about every single week. Go ahead and reach out to me, connect with me on text, email, phone call, or let's schedule a Zoom call. I'll give you the honest local picture so you don't waste your time touring homes that aren't right for you. This is another one of those pros and cons story here on Alabama Hill. So we're on Vining Street again, and I had an investor client who was looking to buy a house that had expandability potential. There would be a house located towards one side of the property so that there was a lot of empty vacant area on that same parcel that he could build detached accessory dwelling unit or multiple detached accessible dwelling units like townhouses. So we found this property over here, and he's like, okay, well, I want to buy it and use the house as a rental, but what about coming off of Alabama Street onto Vining? That is a tight left turn. Is that going to be a problem for vacancy getting this place rented? So once we came over here though and looked at it, the affordability of the home on a large lot and then the ability to build additional new construction on that same parcel won the day. We overcame that concern about getting on and off the street. It's still a concern, but the merits of the property itself outweighed that. And now he has a great investment property. I know they're working with the city of Bellingham right now to get a lot of permitting done so they can go ahead and get construction started. So this is a great example of why someone would still buy on Alabama Hill, even though there's a con of the busy street.
Okay, one of the cons of the Alabama Hill neighborhood is road noise. Since this is the major arterial that runs through the neighborhood, I picked a very quiet time to do this so I don't have to yell over the road traffic. But this is an issue. The traffic noise, because there's two lanes going up the hill, one lane coming down the hill, and the effort that it takes a bus or a dump truck or even a loud car to get up this hill, you hear it the whole way. Well, how about Harleys? You ever hear a Harley? You can lay in bed and you hear a Harley running up and down the freeway. What about a Harley going up and down Alabama Hill? So something to be mindful of is the road noise. The other thing to be mindful of is this is the only way that you get in and out of the neighborhood. So if you're coming from one of those side streets to get down to Alabama and you want to go down the hill, you have to turn left onto the hill to come down. And so it's a safety concern at times because you got to be a good driver, you've got to be alert. The other drivers need to be alert as well, especially people coming downhill. They're going to need a little extra time to slow down if you pull out right in front of them. So making that left-hand turn, turning left to come down the hill, because that, you know, if you're heading into town. But then there's also people that might be turning left to go up to Lake Whatcom. So getting in and out of traffic can be a bit of a challenge. And then the third thing about Alabama Hill that's a con is like I said, it's a hill. So you do have ice and snow concerns during the winter months, but we don't get a lot of snow here. But when we do, it can be real. They will plow the snow. That is called snow plowing. See, it's not very often, so I can't even think of the right word. So they do plow the road if it's in need of plowing. And then they have started using a new type of, it's like a spray that they put on the road. It's like an anti-freeze that they'll spray onto the pavement right before they expect some cold weather. And that definitely helps. But, you know, wet weather, icy weather, you're on a steep hill, that is a concern. So those are the three cons: road noise, getting in and out of, on and off of Alabama Street, and then inclement weather, it can be a challenge.
Another con to be mindful of in Alabama Hill is the era of the homes there. Remember, those were built like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And with older homes comes older home problems. Floor plans back in those days were different than what we like today. And so even if you've seen updating in the homes or some upgrades, there still might be walls where you don't want them. So be mindful of that. And then also on the mechanical side, you're going to have wiring, plumbing, furnaces, roofs, windows, all those kind of things that from that era that might still be in the home that would need to be updated. So be mindful of that as you're shopping for homes in Alabama Hill. You're dealing with era homes, and it could be a con. As you take a look over my shoulder, you can see this beautiful street with sidewalks down both sides. And I will tell you right now, on Alabama Hill, this is very rare. Most of the streets, it's actually a con for the neighborhood. Most of these streets are very narrow and have no sidewalks whatsoever. So if you can find a street with sidewalks on both sides, this is Niagara, very rare and highly desirable. But that is a con, that most of these side streets are pretty narrow, not a lot of room for parking, and certainly walking is kind of like, oh, it's a safety issue. Who is the Alabama Hill neighborhood for? Well, it's for families because it's so kid-friendly. I think it's also great for empty nesters because there's so many single level homes in the neighborhood. It's also great for people that want access to parks and trails, outdoorsy type people. And it's also good for people that are budget conscious, that have a certain budget that they're trying to find in the neighborhood that would work for them. It's also for people that want to be centrally located with quick access to anywhere around town. The neighborhood is also for people that are looking for views of Bellingham, Bellingham Bay, and the San Juan Islands. Alabama Hill is not for people that want ultra walkability. You are car dependent living in the neighborhood other than the trail system. It's also not for people that are looking for luxury waterfront. We don't have waterfront in the neighborhood. Also, if you're looking for a master planned new construction neighborhood, that is not Alabama Hill. It is an established existing neighborhood. And because we're on a hill, it's hard to find a level lot. So if you want a totally level lot, those are going to be rare in Alabama Hill. Not impossible to find, but most of the houses are built on the hillside. Here are my final thoughts on Alabama Hill. Remember that one thing that drove everyone a little bit crazy? Well, honestly, it is Alabama Hill. It's Alabama Street. It's that main arterial because that is the only way in and out of the neighborhood. And those left-hand turns are brutal. The other thing is it creates noise. So depends on where you live in the neighborhood. Either you're going to hear the noise if you're close to Alabama Street, or if you're farther away, you're not even going to hear it at all. Really, Alabama Hill is great for, again, those families, those empty nesters, people that want to be close to parks and trails. If you're really into that walkability and you want new construction or a level lot or luxury waterfront, that's not going to be right for you. But it is a solid existing neighborhood. It's very desirable here. It's a great place if that's what you're looking for in a home. If you can live with hills in the winter and you also like Mount Baker. If you can deal with the hills in the wintertime, you're going to enjoy some incredible Bellingham Bay views year round. It's a great neighborhood. If you want to know more about it, reach out, connect with me. If this video has been helpful for you, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button. And if you've decided that Alabama Hill isn't quite the right neighborhood for you, go ahead and check out my channel because I cover all of the neighborhoods in Bellingham and communities nearby. Again, my name's Tim Cornwell. I've lived here all my life. I'm a real estate agent. I'd love the opportunity to work with you and help you find your home in Bellingham and beyond.